Tony Gilroy on George Lucas's reaction to Rogue One. I had a 45-minute conversation with him after he saw Rogue One, and that's the only time I've ever spoken to him. He loved it. He really did. He had a lot of things to say. It was like getting a call from the president.
I don't believe
know?
this.
How did he know to talk to Tony Gilroy? I mean, after all, the director was supposedly Gareth Edwards. So how did Lucas know to talk to Tony Gilroy?
Ooh.
I don't believe this.
Ooh.
Nor do I. I don't believe it either. George Lucas has probably washed his hands of Star Wars completely now.
Until this day, they haven't really revealed what happened on the original production of Rogue One. They kind of did in different podcasts. Tony spoke. Everybody gave it's like a Rashomon of different versions. You know, Gareth Edwards will claim that he did it and everything was great. Tony Gilroy claims that the movie was a shit show and he had to like refilm the entire third act and start fixing a bunch of things in the movie. He also once on some podcast gave this story about how everything was in disarray and Kathleen Kennedy was really in hot water over how expensive and how poor this movie had looked initially. And that's why I also say, even before I knew all this, I've always said that Rogue One isn't the big win that everybody thinks it is. It's a movie that if you really think about it, and I felt that way in the theater, I was bored
for like
2 acts. And the third act, I said, okay, I'm enjoying this. So really, it's always had the same issue of like lack of focus, lack of good storytelling, and a bunch of like nostalgia and crap just to pull at people's heartstrings. And I was onto them from day one. I knew that she wasn't competent, and I knew that all these other people were rather incompetent as well.
Ian knows what happened.
I know what happened. Seriously, I've got it.
Oh, okay. So sorry. Why didn't you stop me?
No. Because
you were in full flow, mate.
Yeah, exactly. No, I know someone that was on set and someone that was really high up in the production. What happened was that
wasn't Lee,
it was Gareth Edwards, wasn't it? Gareth Edwards was the first person.
Yeah, he was the director. Yeah.
So basically, Gareth Edwards had a solid script. It was very solid, right? And the girl with the big teeth, she wasn't really front and center, right? So it was the other characters as front and center, and KK didn't like it. So therefore, that she pulled back on certain things. Gareth Edwards was confused why she was doing certain things, and what it was that KK was not happy that the girl wasn't front and center. So she basically faked that she didn't like certain things happening, whatever, even though things were going smoothly. She stopped production. She had a script meeting with Gareth Edwards. Gareth Edwards had an argument with her. She fired Gareth Edwards, to cut long story short, and hired a new team to push the girl front and center. That's what happened, basically. Don't believe me. You can not believe me if you want, but
actually, it's very consistent to what we've already heard.
This would be the on-brand thing. If you told me like that Kathleen Kennedy was upset that there was a woman that was front and center and she wanted to change that, that would surprise me. Her looking at it and saying, I want more women front and center, that's on brand. So
you know, so the reason why they got in who's the Chinese guy? Because he's really
Donnie Yen.
Donnie M. He's really big in his own country, right? Him and I think it was him and who what's his name?
The big guy?
Yeah, they were meant to be more front and center, and that's why he's so cool.
Oh yeah, and, people loved them.
Yeah,
that was the only good character in the movie. Those two and the robot,
the hint that they were lovers, right, was from Kathleen Kennedy and their team that brought that in. Gareth Edwards wasn't happy with them trying to change the script. So there's I don't know what happened, whether she fired him or he walked, but he's under the NDA, isn't he? And he can't say anything. So there you go.
Because he went
into they didn't say that he was fired though. They made it seem like he's the director.
Yeah.
Later, she would learn her lesson when it came to Lord and Miller, and she just flat out fired them.
Yeah.
Here you go. James WWW. Hello, James. Ian is right again. 70% of Rogue One was reached. 70%.
It was. Fuck. And do you know what? Right, another this person that was high up in the production, he told me that I can't remember the name of the girl with the big teeth. What's her name again?
Felicity Jones.
She was really unhappy that she had to come back and shoot again, and because she was up for another production. and she was about to sign a contract, and it was all shit that was happening, and she had to come back. She couldn't sign the contract, missed out on another film, and she had to end up, reshooting stuff.
They did remove a sentence of hers from the trailer where she goes, "I'm a rebel. I rebelled." Or something like that.
Yeah.
Can I explain how this movie actually completely ruins Star Wars?
Go on then.
It won't take long.
It's
Because Darth Vader does all this crap 5 minutes before he boards the ship and blah blah blah.
The entire go ahead.
No, you go on. You're the guest.
The entire reason they needed the complete schematics of the Death Star was so they could find a flaw and exploit it. If the guy already built in a flaw, you don't need the schematics. You could write that out on a bar napkin and shove it under R2's dome. No offense, R2.
Yeah.
The whole point of that is that they didn't know how to beat it. And if the flaw was intentional, why would you make it so it's practically impossible to exploit? But the whole point of needing the plans is they had to find a flaw, not that somebody built one in.
And the original idea was it wasn't it wasn't Peter Cushing's character. It was somebody else. It was another character they created, and Peter Cushing's character wasn't really involved. But I don't know what happened. But halfway through, always at the beginning of production, they decided to bring Peter Cushing back because they were excited about doing the old face swap thing. So
wasn't his family upset about that?
A bit, yeah. But when they got the paycheck, they were happy.
Well, so, I do have to say Felicity Jones is a solid one in my book.
It's a KK. It's KK.
Just mind the teeth, sweetheart. Mind the teeth.
Yeah, I was gonna say she could eat a corn cob through prison bars, but that's all right.
I just don't like her vibe. You know what I mean? She has this kind of vibe that
diva.
Sometimes you mean like a always right girl boss? Let's.
Yes,
I mean, men vibe.
maybe I'm mean because I don't know her. Maybe I'd meet her and I think she's lovely. But anytime I see her in a movie, she doesn't generate that kind of like sexy vibe or whatever you want to call it. There's always this kind of standoffish, like you said, like a girl boss, like a negative energy type of thing. And that's why I'm never into her. You know what I mean? And
that's on brand too, though. That's why Kathleen wanted Kennedy more.
Loves her. But that's also one of the problems with Rogue One. There's nothing likable about her. I mean, Carrie Fisher was likable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you wanted her to lose.
Jones is okay. Yes.
But
she's no Leslie.
But they the two characters that stood out for me when I watched this was the robot and Donnie Yen. As far as I was concerned, everybody else was
Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, he was good as the robot, I thought.
I want to answer what you said, Brown. The thing is that if I was sitting in a bar and I suppose like I'm sitting there and Felicity Jones sits next to me.
Here we go.
She starts talking about random crap. Sure, I'd sit and talk to her. I'm just me. But like if I go to the movie theater, I want something more than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, if that was Sydney Sweeney, Kathleen Kennedy would have fired her, not demanded she be put
square enough for you, pricey.
It's true though, because Gareth Edwards is an accomplished filmmaker, and plus he knows about visual effects as well. He's a very competent filmmaker, and he was shooting very, very fast. He's not one to shoot slow like all these Hollywood directors and stuff like that. He knew what he was doing. It's just that KK had a problem with the screenplay.
I'd love to see his version because we see stuff in the trailer that ended up not being in the movie.
Sorry. Ian,
didn't he go into the wilderness after this little bit?
He did, but then he came back with the film
Kong thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, Kong. That one wasn't very well. There was that, and
the first Kong movie was all right.
Yeah, what was that film he made with he shot it on a small little camera and went all around the world? What was that one called?
Oh, is that with the robots?
The one I mean, the one with the big, the robots and the kid.
Help us out, chat. I've got it on my hard drive. I can't remember what it's called.
The creator?
The creator, yeah. He came back with the creator because listen, Gareth Edwards, right? He knows his bananas.
Oh
mate.
yeah,
I'm telling you right now. There's no way he would have made this film rubbish. Absolutely no way.
Yeah.
So that's when we would have got, if KK didn't interfere, we would have got a solid male-driven Rogue One movie.
Yeah, we would have.
At that point, that's when we thought that everybody was hoodwinked, thinking that Gilroy was the savior, but he wasn't, was he?
No, it's just.
no.
I mean, this is what someone
So-
told me. It was very high in production and dealing with this film, and this is what he told me. Again, right? As Doomcock says, take it with a pinch of salt. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
But
and
I believe it's true, though.
Yeah, it was a fine movie. It was an okay movie, yeah.
Yeah.
But we were led to believe that it was the wheels had come off and Gilroy had saved it.
As I said, look at the evidence, right?
Damn.
Gareth Edwards, right? Every film he's made, he's been in control of it, and he knows about visual effects. There's no way he would have made a incompetent movie. Absolutely no way, because that guy, he loves making movies. And he knows what he's talking about when it comes to technology. So yeah, it was the screenplay that they weren't happy with. And it's the same thing with
She wasn't happy with.
Solo. Same thing with Solo as well. You know, I don't know about the other two directors, but I hear that KK wasn't happy with the screenplay on that one as well. It's funny. These people write screenplays. You'd think that she would read it before they go into production.
Right.
Yeah.
But she doesn't.
And the movies are named after and based on men, and she gets upset that there's too much man in it.
Yeah, that's her thing, right?
And that's the thing. Anybody who says Andor is great, $700 million worth of great, really?
Well,
thought it
they're
was
on.
okay.
They're
I
at the
did enjoy
streaming at the moment. So okay, shall we
Move along.
Have we finished then? That was genuinely interesting. That Ian, I don't think nobody knew that story.
Well, I think a lot of people do, but then they're not allowed to say it because they're under an NDA.
Well, it's out in the open now, everybody. Okay, let's move on.